I ain't had dreams. I don't even remember how you kissed on my lips. It used to be something I needed. Now I see I had a reason. I was bummed out, stressed out, yeah. Then you made me feel the best I had. For a minute I thought I needed you. Now I'm seeing through all of the reasons that I made up in my head. I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the habits that I had, 'cause of where it's got me. Searching for myself, didn't know I lost me, I ain't no saint. Let the devil have a way, I regret it every day. I was bummed out, stressed out, yeah. Then you made me feel the best I had. For a minute I thought I needed you. Now I'm seeing through all of the reasons that I made up in my head. I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the I'm breaking the habit. I'm breaking the
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is the No Soundbites Allowed program, and I am your host, Michael Voss, on the Exceptional Conservative Network, and I am happy to be here with you. Guys, you always make me happy. I don't say it enough. I try to say it every single episode, but I want to say it again. You guys are great. You make everything worthwhile. That's why I'm on this program week after week, and several times a week speaking with you. And I enjoy it because you guys are great. And I have a great show for you today. We have our guest, Jennifer L. Lawrence. That's right. Jennifer L. Lawrence, she's the communications director for We Build the Wall. And we're going to be speaking with her today. That'll be at 1:30. And I expect that to be a great conversation. Many people, if you're not aware, if you didn't see my coverage of CPAC 2019, I was going to speak with her on the last day. That's the day that President Trump had spoken, and we had set an appointment. We were going to meet up and do an interview live at CPAC, but President Trump went over on time, and so we weren't able to do that. So I'm very excited to be able to have a chance to speak with her today and go over some of the things we were going to talk about at CPAC and also everything that has happened since then. And my God, there has been a lot of stuff that has happened since CPAC. So we're looking forward to that. Of course, I'm also checking out the chat room and seeing everybody there. And I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. Please do get in touch with us. Let us know what's going on. I'm also watching and observing the Facebook, as well as I try and get to Twitter. And I'll be monitoring all that for your comments, because this is interactive. The show is about you and me and talking about the issues, because we don't hear that enough in modern politics. It's always someone attacking, or you hear very often, especially from the more progressive side, people telling you what you should think. I mean, it was, as I mentioned in the last show, on Tuesday at 1 p.m., we were talking about Nancy Pelosi. What do Democrats really think about their constituents? Well, according to Nancy Pelosi, she considers Democrats about the same as a glass of water, that they're going to vote for Democrat no matter what. And if a glass of water was running in an election and it was a Democrat and it had a D after its name, that it would win an election. Now, she was saying that in particular to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and also her own district, but it's also the mindset that progressives and Democrat leadership have about the rank and file members. And they don't, and you see that in the way that they're speaking, that they don't care about what the rank and file think. Rather, they're telling the rank and file what to think. And that's one of the biggest problems we have in modern politics right now, is that people are being told what they should think or how they should think about everything. And of course, that is a problem. But we're going to go into that in a lot more detail when we speak with Jennifer Lawrence. Let me first take a second to step back and mention a couple things. First of all, on the 28th of April, I will be appearing at the Liberty Weekend. Now, this is being hosted by the Binghamton University College Libertarians and the Binghamton University College Republicans. So they're both jointly putting together this event. On April 27th, my good friend, Dr. Giovanni Scaringi, is going to be one of the speakers. Another friend of ours from the show, Mr. Larry Sharp, who had of the Libertarian Party. He ran for governor in 2018. We've had him on the show twice now, and he'll be at the event as well. He'll be a speaker on the 27th. And I believe Dan Was, who we did an interview with yesterday, will also be there. So we do invite you to go to the Liberty Weekend on April 28th. I will be speaking at 2 p.m. There will be a question and answer period there for your comments. And if you're in Binghamton, please drop by my friends over at the Belmar Pub and also at the Park Diner. That is not a paid advertising. They're just friends of mine, and I tell you that if you're in the area, please check them out. Also, I would mention, and maybe it's a little bit of a challenge to some of those who are watching the show, obviously, we keep our lights on with your donations. We try to avoid commercials. That's why you hear all the music in any of the breaks that we do. We try and promote small bands and individual singers whenever we can. And we're only able to do all of that and bring you the content that we bring you here on the Exceptional Conservative Network through your donations. We try to avoid any kind of paid advertising, if at all possible. But we got to keep the lights on, and it's tough, and we may not be able to do that. We could be losing our podcast version, not the video, not this program, but for people who are listening to the podcast, it's just getting tough to keep the lights on. So your donations are important, whether it's $1, whether it's $2, whether it's $5 or $50, whatever it is that's comfortable for you. If you enjoy the show, donate. It's just that easy. But going beyond that, let's actually talk about the Mueller report. Obviously, the Mueller report is something that everyone is talking about today. And just so you can see it here, this is a copy of the report on the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. It's up. It's available for the public. It is redacted in parts, so you will be able to see it. But it is available out there for the public to be able to see. So I do advise you check it out. It's 400 pages long. There's a lot of information in there. No, I have not read the whole thing. I have barely begun. But the thing that I found most interesting was the line that is in this that says, and I'm over here, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. Basically, Russia did this. They jumped into our election, which is not a new thing. They do that all the time. They've been doing that since the 1950s, trying to interfere, and many nations do that. And they did it again in 2016. This time, we found out from WikiLeaks that the Democratic Party had a lot of issues in terms of rigging the election against Bernie Sanders, which is a fact. The fact that they were giving questions of debates to Hillary Clinton ahead of time. That's Donna Brazile, who somehow is now on Fox News as a commentator. And she got kicked out of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, because of that. She lost her job at the time as well because of that. And now we see that, we have the report out, people are looking through it, and the question, was there any collusion by the Trump team? Did that happen? The answer is no. Have there been questions that have been raised about the Democratic team, Hillary Clinton, and the Democratic National Committee? A lot. Their emails, we're talking about scrubbing emails, not providing evidence. We know that they got hacked. We know that they rigged elections. We know that they were doing a lot of things that were illegal and should be investigated. Will they? I don't know. Because we can see right now, what is the Democratic Party doing? They're on a fishing expedition. They've been looking for this report because once they found out that collusion did not exist, well, what's their next choice? The next thing they have to do is try and figure out, what else can we try and nail against President Trump? Well, maybe he obstructed. No. We wouldn't have a 400-page report. Basically, they're looking for any way to give justification for the claims that they have made, for the allegations they've made that have been proven wrong over and over again, and to distract the public from the very clear fact that the Democratic Party has committed election violations several times, whether it's getting rid of Bernie Sanders or whether it's with Donna Brazile, or the report itself, the Trump report, the Mueller, the Steele report, which started this whole process, which was a fabricated document that was submitted under false pretenses to allow the government to spy on an election candidate. There's no reason why that should have ever happened. And basically, that's an invasion of privacy, which is Fourth Amendment. I mean, we're watching our Constitution being destroyed for political gain for a small group of political elites. We should all be concerned about that. And everyone involved in that, in making that conspiracy happen, should be punished by law. I think so. So that's just my thoughts about it. And I'm not going to go into it much deeper because right now everyone in the world is talking about it. Everyone in the universe is talking about the Mueller report, and everyone's going to be reading it, and I will read it as well. But that's not what this show is about today. And I want to talk about the wall. I want to talk about the wall. I want to talk about what's going on with what the Democrats have said. I mean, much like their comments from Nancy Pelosi that they consider Democrats as dumb as a glass of water, in that they'll vote for anything that has Democrat behind its name. Well, what about the wall? What about the illegal aliens? Now, we've heard for about a week now, President Trump and the Trump administration have considered twice that they should go out there, that they should take the illegal aliens that are trying to enter the nation, and as they're going through the process of basically being released back into the general population so that they can hopefully show up for their actual interviews and determine whether they can legally be in the United States or not as they go through the asylum process. And often they usually, well over 90%, disappear. But to take them, and rather than just generally let them into the nation, the Trump administration said, well, why don't we give them to the 560 sanctuary cities that exist throughout the nation that have said that they wanted them, which, seems to be a pretty reasonable thing to do. And according to, and this is off of Wikipedia, according to several studies done in 2017, having illegal aliens in your community is supposedly going to help make crime rates lower, although we see many cases of illegal aliens with past crimes that have killed people, drunk driving, just straight out murder. We've seen a lot of problems. But according to the studies done in 2017, as it shows on Wikipedia, this is supposed to make the cities safer. So if that is the case, and cities are safer, if that is correct, then we should hear all of the Democrats who have been working very diligently to allow illegal aliens to be able to have driver's licenses, which is one of the proposals that they've made, and that's been in New York and California. If they're willing to give them, like they have in New York, free college, $27 million being spent on giving them the ability to go to college. In California, giving them the ability to vote and to hold elected office, according to Kamala Harris, to help them become involved in working in the Congress. If these are things that Democrats want, they're very pro-illegal alien, then why not allow those illegal aliens to be shipped en masse to the 560 cities, counties, and one state, California, that are sanctuary cities that violate U.S. federal law on immigration policy and have enacted laws that violate complying with the ICE regulations and in processing these illegal aliens when they're caught because they've committed additional crimes, why not send them there? I mean, they'll be amongst friends. They'll be in happy places. I mean, there's over 2 million illegal aliens in California alone, which are not being prosecuted, which are not being presented to ICE, that are being given sanctuary. Okay, then send them to California. Except California is saying no. And we see that even, so Gavin Newsome himself has mentioned, and it was highlighted by, this is in an article from CBS News. Gavin Newsome says Trump proposal to release immigrants into sanctuary cities is asinine. And that was on April 12th by CBS News. And in that article, he goes on to say, at one point, and I had it here, there it is. Quote, Gavin Newsome says, quote, "It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. It's petulant. I have a 7-year-old. He would be embarrassed. It really is the sophistry of adolescence. It's not serious. It lacks any rationale. It's insulting to the American people and to the intelligence of the American people. It's un-American. It's illegal. It's immoral. It's rather pathetic. I don't know what more I can say." Well, Mr. Newsome, you're saying quite a lot. For an individual who's running a city where illegal aliens are allowed to violate federal law, where you are providing them with assets paid for by taxpayers, it's kind of hard for you to say, well, it's ludicrous. No, it's not. You can't say that it doesn't lack a rationale. Your city, your state, and your city want illegal aliens. You have them. You are protecting them. Then therefore, why not send you all of them? Is that not what you want? You want an open border. You want illegal aliens to be in the nation. The party, Democratic Party, wants illegal aliens to be able to have votes and to have human rights, quote unquote, whatever that means, and that changes by the day. Then why not send them to you? Bill de Blasio has said, no, we don't want to have the illegal aliens in New York City, except New York City is filled with illegal aliens, and New York State has policies, as I've mentioned, that promote illegal aliens and promote their livelihood and benefit in our nation while they've broken laws. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. How can they come out? And Nancy Pelosi even has come out and said, and there's another article. Oops. 1 second. That wasn't supposed to happen. Sorry about that. There it is. And I want to show you an article that came from The Hill, which was on just last week. I believe it was April 13th, talking about bizarro world. Pelosi angry over Trump plan to send illegal crossers to sanctuary cities. Nancy Pelosi is angry about this. Nancy Pelosi is saying that this is a bad idea. And she says the extent of this administration's cynicism and cruelty cannot be overstated. Using human beings, including little children, as pawns in their warped game to perpetuate fear and demonize immigrants is despicable and in some cases criminal. Really, Nancy Pelosi? Hang on. It was the Democratic Party that wanted to say that the Trump administration was putting children in cages, which was not true. Actually, and every image that was being used on that was actually from the Obama administration that did put children in cages, as opposed to the tents that children were being put in under, very nice tents, by the way, nicer than many people's apartments, that was happening under the Trump administration, as the law required. It's the Democratic Party that's been saying that we have to give more rights and we have to pay and help illegal immigrants, not Democrats. It's the Democratic Party that has been promoting this consistently and using illegal aliens as a reason not to have a wall built, to have more taxpayer funds go to illegal aliens. That's the Democratic Party. How can you say that this is political when you've politicized this consistently and fighting the wall, as we'll be talking with Jennifer Lawrence about in a few moments? But one thing I want to take a second, because I've said something several times now, and people may not have caught this. If you listen to Democrats, they talk about undocumented immigrants. They talk about human rights and individuals. No human is a criminal. Well, that's not true. And everyone has human rights, whatever those may be, because they change that definition all the time. But what's the biggest thing? They talk about undocumented workers and undocumented immigrants. Even in the title of The Hill, and this is across the entire media, they're calling about illegal crossers, or they have a lot of different ways, undocumented immigrants. What does that all mean? I mean, really, what are they talking about there? What is that? Who are they talking about? Because quite honestly, and I did an article about this way back in July of 2010. What is an undocumented worker? I mean, it's a big question because you keep hearing this term. And what it is, and I did the article, it's on my MVOS political site. That's the mvass.com, VOS Political Commentary. The title is What Exactly is an Undocumented Worker? And that was on July 1st of 2010. And the fact is that it's the Democrats who are playing games. They keep changing the names and the rules. Why? Because if you say illegal immigrant, or actually illegal alien, then that sounds bad. People realize that someone has broken the law and there is a crime that is committed. And no one wants to reward, no average American wants to reward a criminal for committing criminal activity that they are not only repeatedly acting on, that they are actively promoting. Because that's what an illegal alien is. These undocumented workers, whenever you hear undocumented, the document they are missing is any authorization and right to be in the United States. So they have broken our law. They are by definition criminals, which means they are illegal. And they are alien to the United States. Unlike Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who thinks that they are native. I'm native to the United States. I was born here. Someone down in Guatemala is not native to the United States. They weren't born here. They're not native to the United States. They don't have extra rights because they're Hispanic. Guess what? I'm Hispanic too. That doesn't change anything. I'm an American. They're not. So that's, again, they play with the words to fool you because they expect you to be a glass of water. That's what the Democrats believe. You are as dumb as a glass of water. You will vote Democrat just because the D is after the name and because they said so. And it doesn't matter what you actually think, because what you think is unimportant to them. They're telling you, oh, you don't like the word illegal, so they will use the word undocumented. oh, they don't have any rights. Well, they have native rights, even though they're not native to North America, not even though if they're not native to the United States, they have rights anyway. This is all a lie. And so when we hear Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsome, we listen to all these people tell us that, no, you just don't understand. Yeah, we do understand. The actual meanings of the words are important. They're not undocumented, they're illegal. They have broken the law. And what you're talking about is, especially with sanctuary cities, is rewarding these individuals for breaking the law. And if we're looking at that, and you're saying to us that you're aware of it, and you are playing with the public, you are using the public when you say, oh, we support illegal aliens, but they can't come to my city, okay, something's wrong. It's you who are wrong, not us, you. Because you're playing both sides of the game. You want someone else to take care of the problems you don't want to deal with. And that's just the truth. Now, I see that it looks like the video feed may be having a little bit of an issue. I apologize if it's broken up a little bit, but don't worry. You can always go to our YouTube page. You can always go to Facebook or onto the MVOS political site, and you'll be able to see the entire video without any interruption. So don't worry about that. And of course, as long as we have the podcast and your donations to help us, we'll be able to have that so you can listen while you're driving around or whatever else you're doing. But I did want to make it clear. An undocumented worker is an illegal alien. They have broken the law. They have no authorization here. And every action being taken, the sanctuary cities continuing to break our federal law, all that does is help to promote and reward criminals and criminal activity. And if they don't want to support the criminal activity they are inciting and requesting, then that tells you something about where their true standards are, especially when you hear Nancy Pelosi say Democrats are so dumb as a glass of water and will vote blindly Democrat just because that's what they're trained to do. I would be very insulted if I was a Democrat. But I hope this all helped to warm us up. And this is why I'm not talking about the Mueller report right now, because there's a lot of information here. And we're going to be talking with Jennifer Lawrence very shortly. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go over to, and then we'll pick up. We'll have Jennifer Lawrence on, and we'll have a conversation with her. And I think it'll be really great. So I hope you're all going to enjoy that. So bear with me. We're going to do about a 4-minute break, and then I should have her on the phone. So look forward to seeing you at that moment.
Some people live for fortune. Some people live just for the fame. Yeah. Some people live for the power. Yeah. Some people live just to play the game. Some people think that the physical things define what's within. I've been there before, but that life's a bore so full of the superficial. And some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you. Yeah. Some people search for a fountain that promises forever young. Some people need 3 dozen roses, and that's the only Hand me the world on a silver platter, and what good would it be with no one to share, with no one who truly cares for me? Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you. Yeah, if I ain't got you with me, baby, yeah. Ooh, there's nothing in this whole wide world that don't mean a thing if I ain't got you with me, baby, yeah, yeah.
All right, everybody. I'm glad to be back with you. This is Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, here at the No Soundbites Allowed podcast, and I am on the TECN TV network. That's right, the Exceptional Conservative Network, where we bring you the commentary you don't get in the major mainstream media. And I do want to remind everyone that on the 28th of April at 2 p.m., I will be speaking at Binghamton University. I am one of the featured speakers. I will be speaking at 2 p.m. At the Liberty Weekend, which is brought to you by the Binghamton University College Libertarians and the Binghamton University College Republicans. There will be many speakers on the 27th. There will be Larry Sharp of the Libertarian Party. There will be my good friend, Dr. Giovanni Scaringi. I will be speaking on red flags, the Second Amendment, and related issues, and I'll also have a Q&A after the speech. I invite you all. It's open to the public. It's open to the media. Please come down. I think it is going to be a great event. But without much more ado, what I also want to do is introduce to the program our guest, Jennifer L. Lawrence, the Communications Director of We Build the Wall. Jennifer, you can hear me all right, yes?
Yes.
Oh,
Hear you.
oh, perfect. And you're coming across perfectly on our side as well. And for those who are not aware, when I was over at CPAC this year, you were there as well. We were scheduled to have an interview, and President Trump decided to go off script, off the teleprompter, and just talk with us. I covered all of that, and I have video of that on the site, but that stopped us from being able to have a conversation then. I kind of think it's good, though, because now we get to talk about so much more, don't you think?
I absolutely agree.
Oh, yeah. And I know, let's start off first of all, a lot of people may not be familiar with you. I mean, you have a great career. You've done quite a few things already in your career, working with several campaigns, especially in 2018, before you got into We Build the Wall. And then you've had great success with that, raising $26 million already. Can you tell the audience a little bit about you and how did you get to We Build the Wall?
So I'm actually originally from New York. I'm from the Catskills, Roscoe, New York. And I also graduated from New York Military Academy, the same military boarding school that President Trump graduated from. So I'm originally from New York. My whole family's from New York, born and raised. I I was, yeah, as you mentioned, I worked on campaigns and a bunch of different political groups and nonprofits. And then during the 2016 election, I was a reporter for Breitbart News, covering the campaign and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff that happened. And then, I stayed in touch with a lot of people, and I've made a lot of connections over the years. And we were introduced to Brian Colfage a couple months before Christmas. And then right before Christmas, he came to Dustin Stockton and I and told us that he wanted to start a GoFundMe. He was aggravated with what was going on in the political world in regards to illegal immigration, and he wanted to do something about it. And much to a lot of people's surprise, we started raising vast amount of money very quickly. At one point, we were raising $500,000 an hour on GoFundMe. And with those donations were coming messages that people didn't trust the government. They didn't trust that if we gave the government this money, that they were actually going to use it for the border wall. So Brian and a couple others of us came together in DC, and we put together one of the foremost boards on illegal immigration. Steve Bannon is the CEO of our board of advisors. Along with Sheriff David Clark is on there, Tom Tancredo, Chris Kolbach is on there. We have the Angel families on there. So people who are very foremost in their field. And then we also have people who are industrialists, such as John Moran of Moran Logistics. We also have Eric Prince, who we all know Eric Prince and all the stuff that he's done around the world. So we have people that not only have the brains behind it, they also have the resources and the ability to implement it. And we're actually going to be breaking ground. So what we came up with is that we're going to be building the wall on private land along the southern border. We have been approached by landowners who really are unhappy with how they are living on our southern border. They're getting robbed and their houses burglarized, and it's very disturbing what's going on. And we want to do something about it, and we are going to start this border wall within the next month.
Oh, in the next month. That's a little bit of a surprise. Didn't know you guys were that far into it.
Yeah.
Do you know which section, or is it in California, Texas?
We are not releasing the date or the location of the place we're building, just because of security reasons and legal reasons.
Makes sense.
We're not releasing that information, but I will tell you it's along the southern border wall, and it's not just in a place where it's not going to make a difference. We're not just putting up a wall to say we put up a wall. We want to put up a wall in an area that it's going to make a difference. So we looked at the most highly trafficked areas on the border of human trafficking and drug smuggling. That's where we're going to make a difference, is places like that.
Well, that makes a big difference, and I applaud you for that, and especially private citizens getting involved and doing something that helps everyone. I mean, part of the reason why we have such a bad fentanyl problem right now, and so many people dying from that, is because the fentanyl is coming over from China through Mexico, and it makes its way into the Northeast. And it's a problem, and it's been killing people. So anything that stops that is a positive, and I want to thank you for that. And I know many people here in the Northeast and in New York State, where we have such a big problem, they're very happy you're doing what you're doing as well. So,
well, thank you. No, it's an American problem, and some people might think that it's just like, oh, I live in New York, or oh, I live in North Dakota, it doesn't affect me. Well, it does affect you, and you have people dying in your communities from heroin overdoses and fentanyl overdoses. That is originating down on our southern border, and through their trafficking routes is making its way all the way up to places like New York.
Absolutely, and that's a big problem, and I agree with you. Now, obviously, since the last time we saw each other over at CPAC, there's been a lot that's happened. And one of the big things, of course, we've seen that President Trump has gone and gotten some funding for part of the wall already. We see that there's been a lot of support amongst the general public about this, but we see a big refusal by Democrats to even try and move forward. And they've tried everything from the Mueller report to what we see just in this last week, outright denial of the idea of accepting illegal immigrants into sanctuary cities. And what have you guys been thinking about that as you've been hearing all this news come out?
Yeah, it really goes to show that politicians are so far out of touch that they don't realize the reality that's going on around them. And Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsome and all these Democrats who are coming out and saying that they don't want they're mad at President Trump because he wants to send the illegal immigrants into the sanctuary cities. Well, I would say to them, it's the reason we're having this problem is because you are giving an incentive and you are incentivizing these illegal immigrants to make this perilous journey through Mexico to the southern border to step foot in our country, which is breaking the law. Whether you're claiming amnesty or not, that's breaking the law trying to enter this country illegally. And now, they're making their ways to places like San Francisco and little towns. And if they want to keep incentivizing these people here and keep passing laws within these communities that make people want to come here, then it's blood on their hands, honestly, because every single day we are seeing stories and spend some time with angel families, spend some time with Steve Ronenbach, who lost his son, or Marianne Mendoza, who lost her son. Two illegal immigrants who were illegally in this country. And what you're hearing is these people have been twice, 3, 4, 5 times deported. And then they came back here and committed another crime. So every single life that an American loses due to an illegal immigrant coming into this country and committing a crime, then it is blood on the hands of the politicians, and they should lose their jobs.
Yeah, those are unnecessary losses of life. It's something that is easily prevented, and we should be aware, and we should, be honest with ourselves and everyone about that, because they don't need to be in our nation. They broke the law. That's just a fact. And that they're not I love how they always like to say, well, they're undocumented migrants or undocumented workers. Well, the document they're missing is any authorization to be in the nation. I actually was talking about that just before you came on. I wrote that article about that in 2010. It hasn't changed. It's just amazing.
And what's even more disturbing is, back in February, we went down to McAllen, Texas, or it might have been January. Mm-hmm. And we brought our whole board down with us. We had Tom Tancredo and Sheriff David Clark and Chris Kobach and all these people. And we were driving along the border. We were doing a border tour. And we were in a series of white SUVs. And as we were driving along, a whole group of 40 migrants who had just illegally crossed into the country came walking out of the brush at us. And they tried to turn themselves into us because they thought we were DHS. And we explained to them, no, we're not DHS. And they got mad at us because we weren't giving them food and we weren't giving them water. And then they asked us, well, where can we find DHS? So we pointed them down the road for them to go find DHS. And that is the thing. And this is why there's incentive to come here. They know that then when they get here, they cross over, they find a Border Patrol agent. They say, hi, I'm seeking amnesty. And because there's the 1 foot rule, that once they put 1 foot on American soil, they're now our problem. So they give them food, they give them water, and they process them and give them a court date and send them out into our communities. They're not even getting medically screened anymore. We're not doing background checks. We don't know who these people are, right? And when we have groups such as Al-Qaeda and ISIS and MS-13 who want to come here and do harm to us, those people can exploit that border just as well as the migrants are exploiting that border. And it's really disturbing that, once again, Democrats do not care about the American people. They care about their own wallets and they care about what they want instead of what's good for the American people.
Well, I don't know if you heard this, but earlier this week, actually on Monday, Nancy Pelosi mentioned that she thought, in her words, she was saying that a glass of water with a D next to its name would be elected just as easily as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or any other Democrat. I think that says a lot about what Democrats think of their constituents, their rank and file voters out there, when they say that they're as dumb as a glass of water and they're programmed to just vote Democrat straight down the line. I think that's insulting. And I think it also explains why, when given the opportunity to take in the illegal aliens that they keep saying that they love and they promote in all these laws, that they're saying no. It just shows their hypocrisy and how little they really care about the issues. They're more worried about power, I think. You may disagree, of course. Those are my thoughts.
No, absolutely, I agree. And they need to reap what they sow. And I think it was very telling that I think it was Cory Booker, who said bringing the migrants to New Jersey would make it more unsafe. And I think that's the honest truth right there. It makes it more unsafe. When people were coming into Ellis Island, there was a process. When my family, who are immigrants, immigrated to this country, there was a process. You cannot just have a porous open border. You need to have a border. You need to have a country with sovereignty. And you have to have a country where we know who's here. We want people who are going to add to our society and not become leeches on our society.
I agree with that completely. And that's why, 76 other nations around the world right now have walls as well to enforce their borders, including Mexico and several countries in South America, which doesn't get reported a whole lot, but they have walls too.
No, and if you illegally enter Iran, you get shot. You illegally enter Russia, you get shot. We're the only country who oh wait, you're entering illegally? Hold up, let's get you some water, let's get you some food, let's get you a bus ticket, we'll teach you how to get on welfare. It's ridiculous what is going on, especially when we have veterans and we have American citizens who aren't even getting that treatment. And we're giving it to people who are migrating here knowingly, doing it illegally.
Oh, absolutely. And let me ask, obviously you're from New York, upstate New York, and I'm in upstate New York as well. And in matter of fact, you recognized exactly where I was just from the phone number. So when you hear New York State is going out and they've given illegal aliens $27 million, even though we're losing money, we're losing population, they're continuing to raise our taxes by over $2 billion, and to use that money to give illegal aliens free college. But they won't even give that to the Gold Star families. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel horrible for the people who aren't receiving the benefits that they deserve. But unfortunately, you have a socialistic mayor in New York City named Bill de Blasio. You have Cuomo, who's in office. And then you have all the little minions that run around New York State and try to ruin the beauty that is New York State. The policies that have been enacted by the Democrats in New York State have absolutely ruined that state, to the point, myself included, have moved out of New York. And every time I go back, it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. And it's actually getting to the point that the liberal media isn't able to ignore the problems that are going on in New York City, how unsafe it is to ride the subway. Like when I walk down the street in New York City now, I literally see homeless people with tents and bedside tables and mattresses, living on the street. That's not okay. And that's not a quality of life. And I think that's something that's not talked about either, right? These Democrats are incentivizing these illegal aliens and the homeless to live like that. They are not giving them better options. And I think that's where, and the Republicans, we have problems too. It's not just the Democrats.
Sure.
But what the Democrats are doing by incentivizing these people is putting all of us in harm's way.
Well, I think it's diverting a lot of funds that could be going to our veterans, to our homeless. Nancy Pelosi's district is filled. It's rampant. I believe, according to Share, in LA, there's 50,000 homeless. That's Share. It's not a Republican. It's Share, saying that you can't have these illegal aliens. They can't handle more of them. And the city's already got massive problems, but yet we're seeing the leadership say, no, we need more. and we need to give them more, even though we don't have enough to take care of our own, or at least we're not allocating it to our own. So I think, do you think that if we build the wall, that would help to alleviate that problem? Because I know a lot of people say, well, it won't do anything. What do you?
Yeah, I absolutely do think it'll alleviate the problem. If you see a huge wall standing in front of you, you're going to try to look for some other way to get through it. And obviously, we're not going to be able to put up 2,000 miles of border wall, right?
Right.
But in the places where it's highly trafficked, in the places where it makes it easy for people to cross that border, that is where we need a border. I've spent a lot of time at the border. I've seen the quote-unquote border wall. And I think the walls around the mansion down in New York City are better than our border wall in some places on our southern border. You know, people have walls. You go to LA, all of these actors and actresses have these huge walls around their place. And it's like, well, if walls don't work, then why do you bother putting that up? It's more of a deterrent, right?
Right.
And it's saying that instead of having an open area, that's just inviting. But if you have a wall there, if you have a physical barrier, that's telling people that you're not welcome here. There's a door down that way. There's a process to come here legally, and you're more than welcome to do it. And one thing I would like to add is I also think that it's our responsibility, as Americans who want immigrants here, because we want immigrants to come here. We need to make that process, easier for people. We've had people waiting on immigration lines for 10, 12, 15 years waiting to come to the United States. And now we have people just hopping the border. So we're actually punishing the people who tried to do it the right way.
Yeah, and that's a
And
big
and
thing.
that's not right either.
No, that's a big problem, and I agree. Like most people, we're not saying that reform can't be done, but we need to really think this out and think of the consequences and not promote more crime, which is what we're seeing happening here, because it is a crime. They're not undocumented. They're illegal. They're breaking the law actively and purposefully, and we need to keep that
Well,
in
and
mind.
what's scary is they're also being incentivized to bring children now.
Yeah.
We had some of our board members down at the border earlier this week, and we were talking to some people, and they have literally had hitmen, like hitmen for the cartel,
Oh,
turn themselves in as hitmen for the cartel. But since they had a child with them, they were able to go through. They can't stop people with children. So the bad guys, the bad ones who want to come here, know that even though I might look like a gangster and, I have all these tattoos and I'm obviously not a good person, as long as I bring a child with me, I'm going to get through. And that's scary. That's scary. And that promotes human smuggling, and that promotes child abduction. And we can't have things like this. And we can't be incentivizing this as a country to other countries.
no, I agree completely. I would be remiss if I didn't ask a question about the wall in particular, because people go, well, they'll just you put up a 10-foot, 12-foot, 15-foot fence, and they'll just make a 16-foot ladder or something like that. Can you tell us how does the wall that you're building or planning to build, does it go down into the ground, or what's it like?
I would have to get the construction team on that.
Oh, okay.
I know that we are doing everything to support the president. And we are doing everything to make sure that the wall we build will meet the specifications and will match up to a current border wall that's there, or be a wall that is to be built. But we know that, this is a huge project, and the way the Democrats have prevented and blocked President Trump from protecting the American people and protecting American sovereignty, we've seen this in history. Not the same kind of thing, but when the Transcontinental Railroad was built, that was built by private company, right? That was not a government subsidized thing. That was a bunch of people coming together and building something that the nation needed desperately. And that's something that accelerated us into different ages, into different ways of life. So I think that the American people coming together, to fund our own project, to use private companies to build on private land. That's something that's innovative, and I think that it's a way that the American people can take the power back from the government, and to prove to them, because their whole thing is they're supposed to fund our projects, right? They're supposed to take care of us and keep our roads done, and they have failed miserably, Republicans and Democrats, at taking care of the American people. They have put themselves first. They've put the good old boys first. They've joined their little cliques in DC, and they've forgotten the people who got them there. And we are standing up, and We Build the Wall is a great example of how the American people can stand up, say that we have our own money, because they're always telling us money talks, right, in government.
Sure.
Well, we have our own money. We don't need you. So we're going to be doing this, and you can approve of it and support us, or you can go against us and be voted out of office. But either way, we're going to be building this wall.
I hope so. I'm supporting that, and I believe in it. And I've shown it on the video several times here in the podcast. The site that people can go to even learn more about this and also to make donations is the webuildthewall.us. So it's not
Yep,
.com.
webuildthewall.us, and then all of our social media properties are at We Build the Wall. So we actually answer questions, and we'll get back to you. And the GoFundMe's still up. You can still go donate on GoFundMe, so it's still there.
Absolutely. I do want to ask. We've got about 3 minutes left here, thereabouts. I always like to mention. I know we've covered a lot of different subjects here. We've gone through the reaction by Newsome and Pelosi, the thought of taking sanctuary cities, the 560 sanctuary cities, and giving them to illegal aliens. We've talked about the wall, the impact on drugs and child trafficking. But is there anything we haven't talked about, any issue that you would like to mention that I haven't addressed yet or that we haven't covered?
No, I think it's just really important for people to realize that this is a crisis. It's not a manufactured crisis. It's a real crisis. And it affects every single American. And every American should really take a hard look at how the Democrats are acting. Sorry. And we need to have a border wall. It's not racist. It's for the sovereignty of our country. Yes, it's to keep people out, but we also have ways for people to come in who are good people, who are going to add to our society. And who we can check out. And, the measles outbreak in New York is really scary. But you have to look back 6 months ago. The big story out of the border was that there were measles outbreaks at the quarantine camps.
Oh, yeah.
And if that was happening then, 6 months later, now you have measles outbreaks all over the country, it really begs the question of how did this all happen? And we need to be medically screening people. If I go to another country, I have to get a certain shots to protect myself from the diseases that they have in that country. But if we are just allowing, and it's not just people from Mexico, it's not just people from Honduras, they have caught people from Indonesia and places way far away from our southern border who literally flew to exploit our southern border and come into the United States. They're carrying diseases, they're carrying sicknesses that we haven't been exposed to as Americans. And we need to be screening people better, and we need to know what's coming into our country. And the only way to do that is to build a wall, and really take a hard look at our immigration system. But it starts with building the wall. And that's what we are doing at webuildthewall.us.
That's right. Well, everything starts with defense. We have to be able to, that's why we have a Second Amendment. We have to be able to defend ourselves. A wall is a peaceful way to do that, to help maintain our country and to protect ourselves, as you mentioned, from not only just drugs, but also, as you mentioned, the potential of just measles and other diseases that were eradicated here but exist in other parts of the world. It's a good point, and I don't think enough people talk about it. So I thank you for that. And
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to coming back on and updating you on all the progress we're going to be making.
Absolutely. You said it's about a month, so in a month, when the wall goes up, I definitely want to be on that list of some of the first people to talk with you about that and see what's going on there, okay?
Sounds good. Will do. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, Jennifer. And again, folks, that was
you.
Jennifer Lawrence of the We Build the Wall, and it's a great organization. I want you to check it out. Remember that we are here on TECN every Tuesday, every Thursday at 1 p.m., and on Saturday from 12 noon until 2 p.m. I will also be at the Liberty Weekend on April 28th at 2 p.m. It is open to the public. It is open to the media. I invite you to be down there. I'll take your questions. I'll be happy to do so. And most of all, please also remember, your donations keep our lights on. Help us keep our podcast alive for the audio. Help us keep the lights on for the entire program. Donate if it's $1, it's $2, whatever you can do. We appreciate that. And I'm out of time today, but it was a great show. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday, the 20th at noon. And we'll be back then soon.